tonight, taking aim at Boeing.
They've not come to us, and they've not apologized in person.
A Canadian who lost his wife and children testifies in Washington. What's next for those 737 MAX planes?
People have come in and said, I've not talked to anybody about this. They just get a flood of support from other people.
A new online resource for those with mental health issues. We'll look at the good news story behind the so-called Big White Wall.
Parks Canada says they want to improve the experience. This is the experience.
And after an uproar in St. John's, this fence is out of here, and Signal Hill will soon get its view back. This is The National. The victims came from countries all over the world, including Canada. 346 people in all. 2 separate crashes, both involving the same type of plane, the now infamous Boeing 737 MAX 8. Today in Washington, members of Congress investigating the twin tragedies heard from a Toronto man with a powerful story of pain and anger. As Katie Simpson reports, he lost his entire family.
The packed hearing room fell silent as Paul Jarogi showed lawmakers what he can never get back. Photos of his mother-in-law, his wife, and 3 children, all victims of the Ethiopian Airlines crash.
I think about the last 6 minutes a lot. My wife and my mom-in-law knew they were going to die. They had to somehow comfort the children during those final moments, knowing they were all their last. I wish I was there with them.
The Canadian testified before an American committee that is investigating 2 deadly crashes involving Boeing 737 MAX planes, the Lion Air crash in Indonesia last fall, and the flight that killed Jarogi's family in March. Officials are investigating a software problem in both cases. Jarogi called for leaders at Boeing to be fired, saying his family would still be alive if the company had taken action after the first crash.
If Boeing's wrongful conduct continues, another plane will dive to the ground, killing me, you, or your children.
In a news release, Boeing offered its utmost sympathy for the loved ones of those on board, announcing it would start handing out $50 million in compensation, half of what it already earmarked for families and communities. Jarogi calls it a public relations stunt and condemned how the aircraft maker has dealt with families.
The fact that you said that Boeing has never reached out to the families really stuck out to me, and I would like to hear you comment on that.
They've apologized to the families in front of cameras, but they've not come to us, and they've not apologized in person.
Jarogi says it made him feel a little better to have a chance to speak to lawmakers, though he doesn't expect that feeling to last.
It's a struggle to even wake up and try to do anything any day, and the little strength that I have comes from the messages of hope that people send to me.
As for a personal apology from Boeing, if he did get one, Jarogi says it would be too little, too late. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
Boeing is facing multiple federal investigations and lawsuits stemming from those 737 MAX 8 crashes, and all while the company tries to get its MAX series planes back in the air. In May, Boeing said it had developed a software update to fix the plane's flight control system, putting recertification on track for the fall. But last month, the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration found a new software flaw and ordered Boeing back to the drawing board. So many airlines have taken their 737 MAX series planes out of their schedules through November. And if there are any more delays into the busy holiday season, watch for higher fares and flight cancellations. Now, Ian, in something many were anticipating, today the World Health Organization declared an international emergency.
And Andrew, it concerns Ebola, and though the disease is highly contagious, the WHO does not say the threat is worldwide. Ebola has killed more than 1,600 people in the past year, but almost all of them in rural areas of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, last month, 3 were in neighboring Uganda, and the virus has now shown up in Goma. That's a city near the border with Rwanda. So as Derek Stoffel tells us, health officials are worried it could start to spread more quickly in the region.
As word that Ebola has now spread to the city of Goma, people are scrambling to protect themselves from the virus. I'm shaken and scared, this man says. That's why I won't stop washing my hands. This outbreak first took hold in more rural parts of eastern Congo. Dozens of new cases reported every day. But now there are worries that this wave of Ebola will intensify as the virus is now present in Goma, a major urban area.
Goma is an extremely busy, crowded town. It's super difficult to control this.
Medical staff have struggled to contain the outbreak in Congo. Not only are some parts of the country remote and hard for health workers to get to, Ebola is spreading in an area consumed by ethnic violence, which has forced hundreds of thousands from their homes. There have been many attacks on medical staff and facilities. 2 Ebola prevention workers were killed in the area this week. While the UN and medical NGOs have launched a major emergency response to the outbreak, some say it needs to be broader.
Health workers need to be equipped with the capacity and the resources to implement basic infection prevention and control. And that's not happening enough.
Medical experts from the World Health Organization gathered in Geneva today, declaring an international public health emergency.
What does that mean? This is still a regional emergency and by no way a global threat.
The WHO's declaration is meant to focus international attention on the Congo outbreak. It's also a call for more funding from countries around the world so more doctors, nurses, and supplies can be sent in. And it comes just as medical workers began vaccinating people, including children, in Goma. Derek Stoffel, CBC News, London.
That WHO designation, the public health emergency of international concern, was created after the spread of another highly infectious disease that many of you will remember, the SARS outbreak of 2002 and 2003. Here at home, with a federal election set for the fall, the Conservatives have had to make a change in a party fundraising video. It all has to do with the use of images of 2 Canadians detained in China. The party says it will re-edit their pitch after one of the men's families complained. David Cochran has more on the about face.
Is Canada really back? His neglect of foreign policy has...
The Conservative attacks in this fundraising video are numerous as they seek to exploit the blemishes on Justin Trudeau's record. But it seems one attack went too far.
And he's failed to negotiate the release of 2 Canadians arbitrarily imprisoned in China.
Those 2 Canadians are Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor, essentially diplomatic hostages in the feud between Canada and China. Held without access to lawyers, apparent retaliation for the arrest of Meng Wanzhou, the Huawei executive facing extradition to the United States.
But anything I can do to help Canada, I will be doing.
Trudeau has been asking world leaders to add their voices to Canada's cause, including the loudest voice of them all.
Excuse me?
Are you planning to bring it up with President Xi when you meet with him?
I would, at Justin's request, I will absolutely bring that up.
While the United States and Mexico were negotiating their opportunities with the new NAFTA.
Given the high profile and the high stakes, the Conservatives tried to fundraise off the lack of progress. CBC News contacted the Conservatives when the video first published last week. The party defended it, saying, "We feel it's important for Canadians to hear about these failures." But since then, Kovrig's family complained, asking that their detained loved one not be used in a fundraising video.
Well, once we heard from the family members, obviously we want to respect that. That family is going through an awful lot right now, and I can only imagine the type of anxiety that they would be feeling about a loved one who's being held.
Kovrig's family declined to comment when contacted by CBC News, except to say there is no longer an issue now that the pictures have been removed. In a statement, the Liberals said it is disappointing that the Conservatives would use a diplomatic crisis to solicit donations. David Cochran, CBC News, Ottawa.
Donations are, of course, critical for political parties as they campaign ahead of this fall's federal election, now less than 100 days away. According to the latest filings with Elections Canada, the Conservatives raised $8 million in the first 3 months of this year. That was more than double the Liberals' fundraising efforts. The NDP and the Greens are well behind.
Well, if you've got young children in your home, a family from Regina has a warning for you tonight. Their 2-year-old daughter needs surgery after a piece of plastic got lodged in her trachea. It was there for almost a year. And as you'll hear from Alex Soloduca, where that plastic came from was a surprise to everyone.
I am scared that she's not going to see her 3rd birthday.
2-year-old Haley Woodwood hasn't eaten solid food in months. 5 times a day, she sits for an hour hooked up to a feeding tube in her stomach. And that's all because of a toy.
Everyone knows toddlers love to put anything in the mouth, whether it's a toy or just anything. And anything can happen.
About a year ago, Haley was choking. Her parents didn't see that she'd swallowed the plastic eye from a teddy bear.
I got a piece of food out and she started breathing. So I stopped doing chest thrusts right away. We put her down and just, okay, and off she went. It wasn't an event.
But Haley continued to struggle. She had difficulty breathing and sleeping and would have aggressive coughing fits. But the plastic piece was hiding far down and behind her breastplate. Finally, a doctor in Saskatchewan used a scope to go from her airway to her stomach.
And immediately found a green object, but they didn't know what it was because the flesh had grown over so much in the course of a year that the piece was basically unidentifiable.
The plastic eye had cut a hole in her throat. Even after multiple surgeries, her throat is now collapsing. Doctors say they are going to reconstruct it using a piece of her stomach. One of her lungs will have to be shut down during the operation.
Looking back, I sure wish that we would have taken her to the hospital and asked for like a bronchoscope or a much harder check.
Haley's parents have thrown out bags of small toys.
I am heavily against any stuffy coming into the house that has eyes that can fit in their throat.
They say they will consider contacting the toy company about the incident, but for now that's on the back burner until their daughter gets better. Alex Soloduca, CBC News, Regina.
Millions of British Columbia salmon are caught between a rock and a hard place. They have to get to their spawning grounds, but a powerful rock slide has dropped tons of debris right smack in their way, right in the Fraser River, about 100 kilometers north of Lillooet. It's created a giant bottleneck and a crisis because more and more sockeye keep arriving, and the race is on to find a solution. Tanya Fletcher takes us to that remote site.
It's pretty eye-opening how big this thing is.
The site is so remote, the terrain so tricky, it's only accessible by helicopter. As we fly over this narrow part of the Fraser River, the waterfall created by the rock slide is unmistakable.
As you can see, there's the big rapid in the center.
From the air, fisheries manager Dale Mickey shows us the newly formed rapid. He says that section of the cliff is what tumbled into what used to be a calm waterway.
All the rock on the top of that face has fallen into the river, which is confining passage for fish. I've never seen anything to this degree on this size of a river.
The churning water is pushing back against the salmon struggling below.
So typically if salmon have some room to kind of swim down, they can jump deeper. But if it's shallow, it really restricts their ability to do that, so they can't get the strength to jump over those rapids.
Some have made it through, as seen in this video, but the turbulent water makes it impossible to tell how many. Debris pools are now forming below. Those sticks are actually 25-meter logs. The peak of the run will be mid-August, when up to 180,000 sockeye per day will try to migrate through this channel. Several strategies are in the works to clear the bottleneck, but first, the site has to be stabilized. Rock scalers are blasting off precarious chunks of boulders, some the size of buses.
This is the biggest project of this nature that we've worked on, for sure.
These technical crews dangling from the cliff have spent weeks making the site safe for teams that'll be working below.
We hope to be rolling the rocks down at the river level to create the fish passageway.
They're hoping the calmer waters of that man-made fish channel and maybe a fish ladder on top will help the salmon. Another option would be to fly them by helicopter in buckets to be released upstream. But there's concern those options won't be enough to handle the 3.5 million salmon that are coming.
I think it's very critical.
Gord Starrett is working with nearly 24 First Nations that could be directly affected, many of them also getting a first-hand look, some calling for a state of emergency.
There's First Nations up above the slide that have already started to shut down their fisheries and ensure that every fish makes it back to the spawning grounds.
And there's no time to waste because right now the fish can't go forward and they won't be going back. Tanya Fletcher, CBC News, along the Fraser River in BC.
We're live on the National at 10:15 Central Time, and some of the other stories we're following tonight include what some in Manitoba are calling an unprecedented warning from Winnipeg's police chief. Danny Smythe says the number of crimes is so high he's concerned about his officers burning out. In a memo to employees, he said he is tired and frustrated. For example, he writes, the evidence being collected by our personnel at break-ins and robberies is outpacing our ability to arrest and process those being identified as responsible for those crimes. Both the Winnipeg mayor and police union president say the problem needs to be addressed. Confirmation today, 3 Canadians and 4 Americans were on board that seaplane that crashed yesterday in Labrador. They were headed from a fishing lodge on Crossroads Lake near the Quebec border and came down in the remote Mestaston Lake. 3 people are confirmed dead. 4 are still considered missing.
The missing person, we expecting they are in the fuselage of the plane under the water. So unfortunately, the chance to find the survivor are very low.
And the work is underway to bring the plane to the surface. And that criminal case against Kevin Spacey has now been dropped. The actor accused of groping an 18-year-old busboy at a bar in Nantucket more than 3 years ago. Well, last week in court, the young man was accused of deleting text messages from his phone. Then he said he wouldn't testify, invoking his right not to incriminate himself. Spacey had pleaded not guilty, and the court filing says the case was dropped because the young man would no longer testify.
Well, possibly not since Donald Trump announced his border wall. Has a fence been the center of so much controversy? This one is in a revered location in St. John's. It went up really fast, sparked all kinds of outrage, and now, well, let's have Meg Roberts fill in the details.
It's atop Signal Hill where tourists and residents alike will get one of the most beautiful views in the province. Site of the first transatlantic wireless transmission is now an iconic destination. But today it's harder to see. Parks Canada put up an almost 3-meter high fence that blocks the view.
I guess Parks Canada feels like they can do whatever they want, I suppose, with this land that they control. So it's just that it is part of St. John's, and that view is part of who we are and stuff like that. So it's bizarre that it's there, and it's a shame.
We think it should go. It's blocking the most beautiful view in the city.
The public uproar forced the local MPs to get involved.
I'm not even sure what you say about it. It just doesn't keep with any of the character here, and it's entirely unnecessary.
Parks Canada built the fence to prevent close call accidents as traffic slows to see the view. But the Minister of Environment admitted today it wasn't in the right place. And now, just days after going up, the fence is coming down. Newfoundland's own Rick Mercer couldn't be happier. Upset to find the fence while walking Signal Hill, he took to social media to complain and now applauds the government's reconsideration.
They did the right thing. They listened to the people because literally everyone dislikes this fence. The acting mayor dislikes the fence. The local MP dislikes the fence. The people of Newfoundland and Labrador dislike the fence. I don't know who likes the fence. So I would say that's great. You made a mistake. People make mistakes. I built a cabin. You wouldn't believe the mistakes I made, but you have to fix them.
Officials say they received that signal loud and clear. Meg Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
I want to see his cabin. Still ahead on the National, call it Silicon Prairie. Saskatchewan's growing tech industry gets a cash injection.
Plus, a new mental health program in Ontario offers help online.
And we continue our series marking 50 years since the moon landing. Next, figuring out how to minimize the brutal impact of anti-gravity.
I wanted to exercise, do that little bit extra exercise so that I was the Iron Man on landing day. Didn't happen. Weightlessness takes a toll.
Making gravity so we can travel further out there. Next. But first.
That is a rough morning. This car had to be lifted off a submerged highway ramp in Toronto today after it plowed into a puddle that turned out to be a lake.
Toronto Fire Department helped us out to put the straps and everything.
Toronto Fire responded to a dozen water rescue calls in 2 hours because of the flash floods, some involving multiple cars.
You gotta be some common sense to when you see a water, you stop and you don't know how deep it is.
And transit riders didn't fare much better. Jane's subway station seemed like a mini Niagara Falls. And not far from there, it was basements getting hit hard.
Oh, it's not just rainwater, it's sewage. I don't have to spell it out to you, but it's a four-letter word that starts with S.
And here's the rub. In this house, the water poured in as contractors were fixing damage from the last flood.
We renovated. I spent $50,000 on the basement. And now, not even a year after, the same problem.
A big display to mark a big anniversary. A life-sized image of a rocket is being projected onto the Washington Monument in D.C. to honor 50 years since the Apollo 11 mission put a man on the moon. Now here at CBC, we're marking the landing by looking at the future of space exploration. And one key to that will be figuring out how to minimize the effects of low gravity on astronauts' bodies. It can cause serious damage, and the solution, as you'll hear from Vicadopia, sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
You can see the parachute coming down. And
it was a landing that felt like a crash, but for Canadian astronaut Bob Thirsk, that wasn't the worst part.
I felt like a wet dish rag on landing day.
In space, astronauts' bodies go through an unearthly ordeal. They work out daily to counter the effects of low gravity on their muscles, but it's never enough.
I wanted to exercise, do that little bit extra exercise so that I was the Iron Man on landing day. Didn't happen. Weightlessness takes a toll on the human body.
Researchers are getting a better idea of how much of a toll. This lab works with volunteers and astronauts, developing new technologies, measuring the damage caused by weightlessness, pushing blood upwards to the head.
And we found that arteries get stiffer by quite a bit while they're in space. In fact, in 6 months in space, the arteries get stiffer by the equivalent of about 20 years of aging.
With the muscle and artery damage in space also comes changes to bone marrow, which is being studied by another Canadian team.
So it kind of reverses your normal forces of gravity. It's not like being in space, but it's a good model for it.
This doctor is trying to counteract that effect by working with German researchers on this, a centrifuge that spins test subjects. It creates a pull similar to gravity, and exercising while spinning counteracts the effects of low gravity. You may have seen the concept before in the movies, which is not far off from what might be our reality.
So if the studies that we're carrying in Germany now are conclusive, that could well be part of the design of the future spacecraft to Mars.
Artificial gravity won't solve all the problems of longer space travel. There's still the extended exposure to solar radiation, and also the unknown cognitive and psychological effects of spending more time in space. Astronauts' bodies will have to endure a lot.
We need to build up a bit more knowledge before we can send people to Mars. We do not know if the damage will continue to progress at the same rate or if there's going to be a plateau at one point.
As space exploration takes astronauts deeper into the galaxy, it'll open up new frontiers not just for human travel, but for human health. Vicadopia, CBC News, Toronto.
And we'll continue our series marking the 50th anniversary of the moon landing tomorrow night. Nick Purdon will take us inside a classroom where Apollo 11 is anything but a history lesson.
Ready, day 3 now.
Okay, team, the rover has landed. Okay, so now that it's landed, what's the first command that we want to send to the rover? Apollo paved the way for the future of human exploration. I don't think you get more inspirational than that than being able to touch another planetary body in the solar system. It's the first time that we've stepped off the planet and walked somewhere else.
inside the classrooms where the future of spacefaring is taught. That's tomorrow. But still ahead tonight on The National, one last moon story. You'll meet the woman who's going big to mark the anniversary with a homemade observatory.
But first, knocking down barriers to mental health help by building a wall.
24/7, like panic attack at 3 a.m., check, you're good to go. You're good to go. You got the wall.
We have stories on the big white wall that people have come in and said, I've not talked to anybody about this, and they just get a flood of support from other people.
Next, the Ontario initiative to provide immediate, anonymous mental health support to anyone who needs it. No matter how old you are, how much money you make, or what your background is, mental illness will have an impact on your life through a family member, friend, or co-worker, or for 1 in 3 Canadians, through first-hand experience. Despite that, the stigma around mental illness remains strong in this country, and that can prevent people from getting the help they need. Filling that gap is the goal of a new online program in Ontario, and its popularity shows just how much it's needed. Joanna Emiliotis explains.
In every brick, the start of someone's story. Someone who feels sad, alone, someone else who shares their pain too. This is a construct of a wall meant to break down the walls between virtual strangers.
I think I was just really sad, and I needed someone to relate to, someone to talk to.
Cassandra Sommer-Flaro is a member of what's called the Big White Wall, an anonymous mental health forum where people can post how they're feeling and count on someone listening.
It's nice to talk to people.
Does it make you feel safe knowing that it's always there?
Yeah, 24/7. Like panic attack at 3 a.m., check, you're good to go. You're good to go. You got the wall, and you can rely on the wall. And there's people there for you. And there's been people replying back at 3 a.m., so you don't need to worry about no one not replying to you.
Cassandra struggles with anxiety, is grateful for the days she doesn't feel alone. She finds comfort in a place where no one knows her name.
I like that it's anonymous. Like, no one knows who you are, so if you need to open up about something, you don't have to go to a therapist or wait until Thursday to see your therapist. It's kind of like an immediate way of getting relief and like help.
Free day or night, 24/7. It's the only site like it in Canada, and the point is to make mental health care accessible. And someone really is always there. Connie Lee is a trained counselor and one of the wall guides who monitors the site around the clock. On any given shift, she acts like a facilitator and jumps in when she feels she has to.
For us, in our role as wall guides, we also want to make sure if a member has not received a response right away, that we also chime in and we try to also get the community to respond and encourage that. So that's part of our role, that, you know, people are not ignored.
Most of the people who use the site are feeling overwhelmed, sad, anxious. A key part of Connie's job is about identifying someone in real crisis and making sure they get help.
We've had members that have come online and have said that they felt very hopeless to the point where they're not even sure if they felt like they had a reason to live, and to walk someone through that experience and help them find some source of hope. I think that those are the stories that really stick for me.
Shattering that solitude and the stigma, that is the goal. The website was created in the UK and piloted in Ontario. Now up and running for a year, 20,000 people have already registered to use it.
We have stories on the big white wall that people have come in and said, I've not talked to anybody about this, and they just get a flood of support from other people. And they can kind of go over days or months and then say, you know what, I feel strong enough now to go and talk to my family doctor or to go and talk to a counsellor about these issues.
Harriet Ekperigin is with the Ontario Telemedicine Network, the government agency that oversees the site.
when you're struggling with something that you haven't quite gotten to that point where you can be bold about your issues, I think the anonymity of it is really important, because that's the first step to getting you to be bold. And at that point, that's when they can say, my name is Harriet and I have a depression, or I have symptoms of depression. But until then, I think it's really difficult to be able to do that.
So the majority, it is their first entry point?
Yes, a lot of people is their first entry point, yes.
Wow. What does that tell you?
It tells me that stigma is still real. It tells me that access to mental health support, we still have a long way to go. There are quite a lot of different access points for mental health, but A, either they're not well publicized so people don't know about them, or B, the wait lists are ridiculous. We've tried to make it more diverse.
Younger people tend to use the site most, but seniors are a growing group of users too. The website markets to both demographics, usually in healthcare settings.
Because a lot of people that go in for physical issues also have mental health issues, but they may not want to talk about it, so they can just slip this in their wallet.
Okay, Harriet, we're up to you.
All right. The neat thing about Big White Wall is
But the plan is to bring the message to the masses as well.
yeah, so it's people supporting people. Yeah.
Toronto's Transit Commission is listening. Suicide by rail is a constant concern.
Yeah, I think we'd like to work with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And after a recent pitch, now displays the website on its subway monitors. As for Cassandra, she manages her anxiety by taking long walks and seeing her therapist regularly. But going online makes her feel she has something more to offer too.
Anyone can talk to anybody, anyone can help anyone, and I just simply go on there and I read the stories, and if I feel like it's something I can touch on and I can help someone with, or I might have advice to share or an experience to relate with, like, it's nice to be able to put my opinion out there, like, and just let them know, like, you have options. You don't need to feel down all the time.
It's comfort from one kind stranger to another. Joanna Rimiliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
From seeking support online to finding it at your front door, postal workers in the UK have been delivering more than just letters and packages. They've been checking in on elderly customers as part of a pilot project aimed at tackling loneliness. It's been described as a silent epidemic in those countries. And earlier this year, the CBC's Thomas Dagla hit the streets to find out why the Royal Mail is in a unique position to help.
Twice a week comes a welcome visitor, always dressed in red, and here to check in on the 93-year-old living alone behind that door.
Morning, Mrs. Haynes.
Morning, love.
You okay today?
A chat with the mailman brings a smile. It's simple, but effective, it seems, in fighting loneliness.
It's nice for someone to knock, you know, and have a word with you.
For British postal workers, the day starts much earlier, sorting tons of letters and parcels to get out the door pronto. Yes, even in this era of text and social media, Royal Mail delivers tens of millions of items of regular old mail 6 days a week.
There is a massive time issue with the job because it's getting so busy now.
Billy Giblin is among a dozen mail carriers here in Liverpool trying out a project aimed at the older customers named on those envelopes. For him, the main challenge is finding enough time in a constant race against the clock.
I come away feeling as though I've done a good deed for me day.
With today's mail sorted and his van loaded, it's time to hit the road. Even as temperatures drop, Giblin keeps those shorts on because his job involves so much running around. It's just a quick drive to North Liverpool, where he's been delivering mail for more than 30 years. He knows the neighborhood, and the neighbors know him.
All right, Terry.
Spot that uniform on the street, and there's no guessing what he's up to. Part of the reason British mail carriers are uniquely positioned to walk up to just about anyone.
Okay, excuse me. Thanks a lot, Daniel.
Customers eager for their mail, or those at risk of feeling lonely.
I'd like to think that people trust the Royal Mail. I mean, we've been around for a long time with a friendly face. Thank you. Take care. See you later.
Workers are being assigned to no more than 2 seniors each to drop in a couple times a week on their mail run. This is a pilot project being tried out in 3 areas across Britain until March. After that, it'll be up to government officials to decide whether it's worth the funding and whether to expand it across the UK. We tried to keep up and chat about the project, but on his mail run, Giblin's not easy to follow. What kind of questions do you have to go through?
We go through a question about the health, about the social connectivity, whether or not they're getting out, about problems that might be arising in the area, and about whether or not they need to see someone on a regular occurrence. That's why.
This country's population keeps growing older, and officials expect as many as 2 million seniors in England could soon be suffering from loneliness, an affliction associated with greater health risks from heart disease to dementia.
The principles are terribly simple.
So campaigners for senior care say loneliness needs to be tackled urgently.
You've got a huge growing unhealthy time bomb in terms of possible demand for health and care services that may not be there.
So, along with a bag full of mail, more letter carriers could soon be delivering reassurance to seniors.
How's your health this week compared to last week? Is it better?
Just the same, really.
Dropping in on customers like Margaret Heens.
Between 1 and 10, overall, how happy have you been this week?
8.
8.
Asking those pre-planned questions and sending the answers to experts using a handheld device.
So you have been having slight difficulties getting out?
I have been out, yes.
Okay, no problem.
Afterwards, we couldn't help but ask Mrs. Heens what she thinks of it all.
Oh, good idea. Definitely a good idea, yes. Should be advertised, as I said before, you know.
How does it
I think
help
it's
you?
really good.
How does it help you?
Well, you feel more confident, yes.
I know, take care, take care.
And with that, the postman's back on his route again. He'll return for another chat on Monday. I'm getting out of breath. Yeah, I'm glad you're now jumping in your van.
No, that's
You're
it.
not
I mean,
more walking.
If you look at me van, I mean, that's mine. That's just me. I do that.
Through every piece of mail, Giblin's touching somebody's life in one way or another, and he's still got plenty left to deliver. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, Liverpool.
And still ahead on The National, a homegrown success story fresh from the prairies.
We do have pressure to open offices in different places, to get access to talent and access to customers, but we're happy to stay right here.
The tech boom growing Saskatchewan's next-gen economy right after this.
Welcome back as we continue live here on The National. Another country is accusing Canada of sending garbage overseas. Cambodia says 83 containers filled with plastic waste have arrived at the country's main seaport since October. 13 are from Canada, the rest from the United States. Officials say they'll start the process of sending the trash back.
The yeas are 230, the nays are 198. The resolution is adopted.
The U.S. House of Representatives has voted to hold Attorney General William Barr and Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross in criminal contempt of Congress. This vote in response to the cabinet members defying congressional subpoenas. Those were related to the Trump administration's failed bid to add a citizenship question to the 2020 census. The vote, though, is being seen as largely symbolic. It's unlikely the Justice Department, led by Barr, would pursue the case.
It took Chaffo a lifetime to build a drug empire, and now he will live the rest of his life in a U.S. security prison.
A U.S. judge has sentenced Mexican drug kingpin El Chapo, Joaquin Guzman, to life in prison plus 30 years. In February, a jury found the head of the Sinaloa cartel guilty of drug trafficking, money laundering, and engaging in murder conspiracies. Guzman's lawyers plan to appeal. And concerns about FaceApp, the viral app that's probably flooded your social media feeds, have led the Democratic Party to tell its presidential candidates to stay away. The Russian-made technology uses filters to edit photos and change your appearance, but privacy experts say they worry who may use all these photos that are being uploaded.
Well, in a province known for growing all kinds of grain, there's something new cropping up. Saskatchewan's tech industry has started to boom. Today, a Saskatoon software company announced a huge injection of cash, an investment of tens of millions that creates an opening for hundreds of jobs. But as Bonnie Allen explains, that could also present a challenge.
After resisting the pull and pressure to leave Saskatchewan,
go ahead.
Vendasta CEO Brendan King is scoring big on the prairies.
Wow, okay.
King used to play a lot of foosball when he and his buddies started a tech company in his garage 12 years ago. They just signed a deal for $40 million in venture capital investment.
We do have pressure to open offices in different places, to get access to talent and access to customers, but we're happy to stay right here.
2 million businesses use Vendasta's online software to manage their marketing, human resources, and accounting services.
So we'll have to recruit definitely outside of our borders.
The company will more than double in size, hiring 300 people in the next 3 years. Across the river, Jordan Bush knows how challenging that will be. He's expanding his company, which helps restaurants schedule employees.
Senior talent, I think, is a big thing. There's not as many tech companies as there are, in Toronto or Vancouver or Silicon Valley or New York, where that's kind of like a perpetual cycle where people have been through that before.
Bush had to open a Toronto sales office and recruit abroad.
I see a bright future here.
The company found software developer Alex Andrade at a career fair in Brazil.
Saskatoon is an amazing city. My commuting every day is like 5 minutes walking. So my daughters, they go to school by themselves. This is a dream.
That is what Vendasta's Chief Strategy Officer Jacqueline Cook hopes will lure people to Saskatoon from other countries and from other parts of Canada.
You can have a fantastic job and career that is growing, but you can also afford to have a home and to travel and to not spend 3 hours in a car every day to work.
A move she hasn't regretted since returning home to Saskatchewan from Toronto 5 years ago. Bonnie Allen, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Next on the National Hour Moment, how one woman's lifelong love of space turned into a major cottage renovation.
As of next week, it should be up and running.
She built an observatory on her deck. That's next. As we approach the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, a space superfan in Toronto is celebrating the opening of her very own observatory. Colleen Ansley will be spending the anniversary on Saturday there, gazing at the moon. She and her husband built it to look at the stars and capture them on camera. Their incredible personal viewpoint is our moment tonight.
When I was a little girl, I spent a lot of time with my grandma in a little village called Gorai, which was off Bombay, which is today's Mumbai. And the night sky was so clear that the stars glittered like diamonds. I had this deep curiosity, that there's something more to this. There's endless wonders. We built this observatory last year. I decided to call it Curiosity. As of next week, it should be up and running. When people see it and wonder what it is, and when we tell them the enthusiasm and eagerness to learn and know is unbelievable. And hopefully I'll see something Andromeda Galaxy, M31, and all the beautiful stars that amazed me over the years. And I hope I have another 50 years to be able to look and enjoy what's out there.
Andrew, I remember a time when people would build these intricate train models in their basement, and I'd wonder, why spend all that time and money on that? But they loved it. And now people, or at least one couple, is building this intricate observatory, although they won't say how much it cost, just that it was a bit of an issue between husband and wife spending that much money on putting that in their cottage.
Right. How much would an observatory cost anyway? It's got to be like tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I mean, for her, you know, she has a very good reason. I mean, she talked about being a young girl in India and you know, looking at the stars and being sort of in awe of them. While she's living in India, apparently she also had a chance to meet Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, the first two men on the moon. And she says getting to hold a piece of actual moon rock, that was the highlight of her life. This, though, I'll bet will be a close second. That's The National for this Wednesday, July 17th. Have a good night.
Good night.